All right, the dust has now settled when it comes to conference title weekend. If you're watching this after the college football playoff rankings have already been released, well, then you're living in the future. Because right now, we're about to tell you what I think the committee should do versus what I think maybe they will do. So, a little bit of a prediction / our own projection of what we think is right. But before we get all that, make sure to subscribe right here to the On3 YouTube channel, regardless of what these top four end up being. One, we're going to talk a lot about it going forward. Two, going to give you our predictions for the college football playoff, those actual games that happen, as well as the national championship game. All that's to say, we're dialed into college football 365 days a year right here. Don't want you to miss a thing, so make sure you're subscribed. Also, follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JDPikel. We appreciate y'all so much in advance for that. So let's start with what I think the committee will do. And what I will do is probably linked a little bit to what like the right thing is to do. And it's a little bit of an ugly phrase to use to say the right thing, because at the end of the day, the committee is supposed to pick the best four teams. And we'll get to that here in a second. But I think what the committee ultimately will do, and it's probably the right thing to do, the fair thing to do, is they'll have Michigan at 1. Not super complex there. At 2, they'll have Washington. Also not very complex. Now, 3 and 4, I could see however they want to, situate these teams. I'm not going to, push back too much on the order here. But they'll have Florida State and Texas. Whether it's 4 and 3 or rather 3 and 4 with Florida State and Texas, or it'll be Texas and Florida State. Regardless, Florida State is an undefeated conference champ. Not only do we think this is what they're going to do because it's the right thing to do, it's also there's precedent there. Like Ohio State, previously, I understand the championship game looked different for them when it came to that conference title game, but still, like, they won the national title with a third-string quarterback. We didn't dock Ohio State for not having their starting quarterback in the game. So we're going to start docking Florida State now? That would surprise me. Texas, whether they're 4 or 3, they deserve to be in because they're a conference champ, and also because they have the head-to-head over Alabama. So when it comes to Texas-Bama, I understand that Bama has played a lot better since week 2 in Tuscaloosa, but I think also look at Texas and say they've played a lot better as of the last couple of weeks, especially found their rhythm, but they also found a way to win without Quinn Ewers in the lineup. So when you look at that 4, I think that's extremely fair to say. Michigan at 1, Washington at 2, Florida State, we'll say they're at 3 because they're undefeated. Texas at 4, I could see Texas being 3 and Florida State being 4, okay? So that's what I think they will do. I think that's probably the cleanest way to do it. I understand you leave Alabama out, you leave Georgia out. Georgia's probably needing some real help from the committee there. They need some real, eye test juice to find their way in. But all that's to say, I think that's what they will do. I'd be surprised if the rankings don't reflect what we just talked about. Now, here's where we're going to ruffle some feathers. What would I do? What would we do here? Well, if you've kept up with our Nothing But Ball poll during the course of the season here, then you know that we lean very heavily on the eye test. And when it comes to Selection Sunday, I think you have to speculate a little bit if you want to get these best 4 teams, because quite frankly, that transitive property in college football has proven to be unreliable based on Oregon and Washington, based on the way that Alabama and Georgia played yesterday. All that's to say, when you look at these teams playing football, what do your eyes tell you? What are the best 4 teams? I think you would still have Michigan at 1. I think you would still have Washington at 2. I think you would have Texas at 3. I think you'd have Alabama at 4. And if you're Florida State, it's not fair. It's not right. I think there would be riots in Tallahassee. And I mean, deservedly so, because you controlled everything that you could to the nth degree. It's not anybody's fault Jordan Travis got hurt. Nobody's happy that 13's not in the game. Nobody's rooting for that. Of course not. But when you look at what it would mean for the college football playoff, a big reason why Florida State was able to go the way that they did the course of this season was because of 13 being in the game. That makes them a better team. 100%. And so it's, honestly, I even thought about if this was even a beneficial segment to do, because I wholeheartedly believe that Florida State could very much so find themselves in the college football playoff. And then it would be just like this Florida State team and just like the college football playoff as a whole and the college football sport as a whole for them to go on and win a game and find themselves in the national title. So all we're saying here is if we're trusting our eyes and we're trusting what we feel like is a more certain thing, Alabama and the way they're playing right now is a more certain thing And then Florida State playing with a backup quarterback. There was a lot more left there to speculation and to, hoping that Florida State would end up being that team that we saw them be the course of the season. And it's hard because you penalize an entire team based on an injury. Again, I don't think this will happen. This is not my prediction. I'm just telling you, if you want the best 4 teams, seeing what Alabama did yesterday in Atlanta firsthand, the way they look in the trenches, the way that Jalen Milroe is playing right now, the level of confidence and edge they have right now, the way they finished the year, I think Alabama's a top 4 team in the country. It's tough because at this format, somebody has to get left out. But that's, I think, how, if you're picking just purely the best 4 teams, I think that's what would happen. Now, again, Florida State, we think y'all are making it in. Excited to see what y'all do. If you're not in and you're watching this after the fact, then we're probably having more conversations throughout the week. So that in itself is a reason to be subscribed. But let me know what you think. Right thing versus best thing. It's tricky, very tricky. But let me know what you think about that one. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JD Piquel. We welcome all opinions. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Gonna keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.